YouTube live at 6:45 in the morning. So we're gonna discuss a ongoing saga with the police department. So come on in, Charles Van Morgan YouTube live. Let's see if we can break the 13,005, get all the way up to 14,000, maybe 100,000 views. So this is Charles Van Morgan, live Unbridled News. We'll wait for a few people to come on here. We're going to talk about the ongoing saga with the police department, how they change the rules to fit their game. If you're abiding by the rules, they just change them and make sure they win. They got a ego going on. They don't abide by their own rules. They break their rules, and then when you don't go along with them breaking the rules, stand up for your rights, they just change the rules. You know, they're the ones in charge. So we'll wait till a few people come on here. 6:45, Charles Van Morgan, live in the morning, Unbridled News. We are encouraging people to vote. That's dangerous to the establishment because there's more of us than there is them. We're gonna show you a little video here in just a few minutes of the Knoxville Police Department and what they did to us to rig the game. So we'll wait till a few people come on here. Charles Van Morgan live in the morning, and we're going to show you what's going on with the situation that we showed you last week. It was live, but we're going to show you a little video of what they do and how crooked these people are. And so yeah, they changed the rules. When you abide by the rules and you won't give up your rights, or you want to cooperate but you won't give up your, and then they change the rules. We're going to show you a little situation with the police department and how they change the rules. Charles Van Morgan in the morning. We're going to talk about a freedom of speech case, our rights. We're going to talk about how the state thinks we're dangerous as hell, how people in government power think we're dangerous as hell, and they banned us off TikTok. Why? Because I say vote, go vote. They don't like that. Oh man, that bothers them because they might get voted out of office. TikTok, you know, is in cahoots with the Communist Party in China, and they have taken me off of TikTok. Wow, imagine that. Why would they do that? They say my rhetoric is dangerous. My rhetoric is go vote, you know, to the Communist Party that may run a lot of the United States of America. Doesn't like me to say go vote. That's bad. Creepy dude. Yeah, okay, Supernova. Thank you for running up my views. Go vote is creepy. Yeah, you part of TikTok, the Communist Party. So yeah, okay, we got a bunch of viewers on here. I'm going to show you a little video. We're going to talk about freedom of speech. Been banned on TikTok. So remember the brand name, Charles Van Morgan. I must be pretty important if they're banning me. They don't want to hear what I got to say. And what I got to say is not violent. What I got to say is go vote. That's the main point. Go vote. And vote these dirty people out of office. So we're going to keep telling you to go vote. So yeah, Supernova, Faceless, Horses Platoon. Okay, you're real good. Go keep running up my video. So we're going to show you a video of what happened the other day. I filmed it live. Charles Van Morgan banned on TikTok. Remember the brand. It's Charles Van Morgan. Because if they ban me on YouTube, hopefully they won't, then I'll just, you can type that name in, I'll just be on another channel. Because it ain't about social media that's run by foreign countries. It's about you and me getting you to vote, maybe for me, to take over this rogue, dirty government. People in government power are dirty as hell. They change the rules. They don't want you to vote because they only got a small portion of the vote. And global corporate machine. That's right. That's what they are. So we're going to show you this little video of what they did when I was abiding by the law. I went by their rules. Every one of their rules I followed in getting a taxi permit, certificate of public conveyance, went through the police department, got fingerprinted. I abide by every rule, and they got a taxi parking space. That's for taxis. I was active taxi answering calls, but they asked me to move for a vehicle that doesn't belong in a taxi space. Listen to a corporation. Now listen to this guy. We're going to let you see this here, this video I filmed live the other day on YouTube. Now just watch this right here. We'll turn it on. Turn this around here. Here we go.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. That man over there that complained. Okay. Go get his name, address, and phone number, and all the information you can from him. Because when I sue, I'm not suing him. You're state actors. I'll sue you in federal court. So I'm just giving you a little advice. Go get his name and information, whatever he said, because you're going to need him as a witness. Now, if you want me to leave, I'll leave. I could sue you over that. And I might. Well, you know, if that's what you want. Or you could let me park here and leave me alone. That's simple. Now, see, there you go. Leave me alone. I'm exercising my rights. I paid for this parking space. Now, let me show you this little idiot that thinks he's a lawyer that's trying to tell me what the law is. And it's absurd what he's saying. And the police are listening to him. But what they don't understand is I don't sue him in order to get officers in federal court. You have to have state action. You can't sue a private individual for violating your constitutional rights. The first prong of a federal lawsuit, a constitutional rights violation, is state action. So the private individual is just their witness. They don't understand that their witness is sicking them on me, and they're the ones going to be left holding the ball. That's not going to fly in a federal courtroom, most likely. And so, you know, officers, listen to the witness that's telling you stuff. It's your decision, because they may or may not even be around after they sue. But listen to this idiot that is telling them to kick me out of a legal parking space that I'm in. So we'll play this right here. And they're trying to say that I'm the one being disorderly when I'm parked in a legal space.
Come on. Respectfully ask, when I called you, sir, there was already an active shuttle bus.
Here we go. Here we go. Right. Here we go. Watch this right here. This is live.
Okay. Like, okay. All right.
So can we settle this like fairly?
Like adults?
Like adults?
Well, let me just tell you, he called me and told me to move my taxi, yelling at me. Come on. Respectfully ask, when I called you, sir, there was already an active shuttle bus blocking our entrance.
Right.
Because you felt the need.
There's the jackass. Yeah, I felt the need to exercise my rights.
Use the taxi parking only for the benefit of whatever it was that you were in.
For making money.
I have no idea who you are. Okay.
I'm a taxi driver.
My name is Charles Van Morgan. I'm not a dumb taxi driver.
No, I'm not saying
okay, I'll listen.
What I'm saying, sir, is utilize the sign correctly, not abusing it. If that's the case, every Uber driver and Lyft could sit down.
No, they can't. That's taxi. Taxi. They don't have a right to park there. It's just taxi. You need a ride? Okay. Y'all mind if I go make some money? Now, their buses aren't supposed to park here.
He's joking. He doesn't
The whole point. Yeah, he thinks that's funny. That's all right.
You're abusing the sign.
See, I was going to go make some money. I mean, I'm literally starving to death, you know.
Before I called officers, I called you first.
Oh, yeah. I got it on. You didn't talk to me like that. Move my car. And I paid for that.
Sir, you hung up the first time. You can check. You had 2 calls.
I asked if you needed a ride. I thought you were needing a ride.
Sir, how can I hear when there's a shuttle bus? Regardless of what, that's not the point, sir. The point is you're using the parking for your benefit.
That is not true.
That's not true?
No, it's not.
How long are you allowed to park your...
They're going to park buses here, right?
No,
okay,
sir.
They're
parking buses. It's a drop-off.
It's not. No, it's not.
It's meant to be dropped off.
No, it's not. No, that's his opinion. That's not true. That's his taxi. Are their buses a taxi? They don't pay for the stuff that I have to pay for. Their buses.
Sir, above the taxi sign, what's the sign show?
It said no parking.
No. Above that, there's a symbol, and that symbol indicates what?
No parking.
Correct. Thank you for noting that.
But then below it,
which means that you understand. What?
Then it says no parking.
So what does taxi mean?
And then it says no parking.
So
taxi parking. Oh, I think she's a lawyer.
No
parking for civilians or buses.
It means
taxi parking only.
You're an active taxi.
No, I don't think it means that. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, when you called, I thought you was needing a ride. I was going to come in and give you a ride. But you don't want my ride. You want me to move so you can move a bus in here that's not even supposed to be here. Their buses aren't taxi.
Sir.
I'll complain about that. I know how to write stuff out. I'm not physically dangerous, but I got this little sharp mind that don't give a damn because of how I've been treated by the government.
this is not
I filed lawsuits before. I dismissed it against the police because I didn't want them to lose their job. That was going. Yeah, give him your name. Yeah, see how he's talking to me? He's got no right. This is my space. If you want to take his side, respect the way you talk to me.
Taxi. What does it show? That symbol shows what? What does that symbol state? Yeah.
Oh, you're a real tough guy, aren't you?
Yeah, you got it, right?
Well,
what does the symbol say about the taxi?
What does it say below it? Taxi parking. Taxi parking. Taxi parking. Yeah. Get his name, because you're going to need him to explain that in federal court. Yeah. It's my side against his. I'm not threatening y'all. I will be glad to sit here and do what I'm doing. He's got no right to tell me to move. I'm doing my job. I was going to move my taxi. I thought he had a fare. He called me and told me to move. Whatever y'all want to do, if you want me to move, I'll move. You'll hear about it. If you're going to let him win and say that says no parking for taxis.
I'm the manager, guys.
I don't care who he is. I tried to park there one time and they told me to leave. Yeah. I don't care who you are. He doesn't know the law. Let me show y'all something. I'm not going for a gun. Let me show you something. I got every right to park here. I got every right to park here. Look at this right here. Look at this. Yeah, I'm really kidding, didn't I? Y'all's fatality rate's 45% up right now. Maybe you ought to go get a drunk driver instead of somebody that's trying to bully me about parking a bus that don't even belong here. Buses don't belong here. It's just taxi.
Sir, you realize that we're not a state trooper, right? We have answer calls to service.
Let me tell you what he said to me on the phone. I don't care who you are. That's what you said to me. I don't care who you are. You're the government. That means you're subject to that federal courthouse.
You're telling me that you have a jurisdiction.
I'm asking you if you want me to leave. I'm not a trooper now.
I don't care about that, sir.
No. Well, he acted like he didn't believe me. Look, I'm proud of that. Getting that on my camera.
Again,
My name is Charles Van Morgan.
So here we go, Charles Van Morgan.
Okay, I'll listen.
You've seen a little video show of what the state government is doing, what the city government and part of the state is doing. Let's see if we got any viewers on here. Okay, let me turn this around. I got this backwards now. Let's turn this around. So, Charles Van Morgan live, YouTube live in the morning. So that's just a little background of something that happened the other day. You can watch it on video. It's at the end of the other video. But I was parked in a legal parking space that I pay for. And this is an ongoing saga. There's more to it now, because if you stand up to the government, then what do? They change the rules to benefit themselves and violate your rights even more. So what they have done is, the signs were in my favor. They couldn't make me leave. They knew that. But they were taking the side of a corporate manager. You seen that idiot on there telling me that no parking means that you can't park a taxi there, when it means no parking for everybody else. Taxi parking only. So that's what he's trying to say. And there's police signs that say police parking only, no parking police only. Does that mean police can't park there? No, but so it's a little bit different when you're dealing with them, because they're above the law and they can order me off property that I'm legally allowed to park at. And that's not the first time I've had issues with parking legally where I'm supposed to, where I paid for in that case, that they won't let me. Now downtown, they're even towing cars that they're not supposed to tow, because they're making towing companies a lot of money that they're in cahoots with. There was a towing company that ran a red light and hit one of my family members, and they didn't even issue the towing company a citation because they're in cahoots with them. They tow cars for them. Now, I don't know what kind of situation they got set up. I'm not accusing them of anything illegal. I'm accusing them of where they have a choice. They show favoritism to people who they work with, and people that record drivers and corporations, hotels. So that they shouldn't. In this case, you've seen the video trying to make me move from a legal parking space that I pay for. And now the ongoing saga is that they have changed the rules like they told me they wouldn't. They lied to me. And they changed the rules, and now they made it a temporary parking space. So they took the signs down that I paid for a year, because I got a certificate of public conveyance. That was an agreement for a year. You know, who knows whether I would have got my taxi permit had I known that they wouldn't allow me to park there for a full year. But they violated the terms of the agreement, which the terms of the agreement were when I got the certificate of public conveyance, there were 2 taxi parking spaces in Knoxville. And since they wanted to move a bus there for a corporation, or let Uber and Lyft drivers park there, because that's what a corporation wants, and Uber and Lyft drivers aren't safe. Now they have changed that space to a temporary 15-minute loading and unloading zone, just like the corporate manager wanted them to. Now, he argued that that sign that I agreed to when I got my taxi permit was no taxi parking, that you can't park a taxi there, even though the sign said taxi parking only. There's no parking for Uber and Lyft, no, or anybody else. It's for taxis only. But now the city of Knoxville has gotten cahoots with a corporation, 2 corporations. They're in cahoots with the Hilton, a major corporation, you know, United States wide and other countries, has millions and millions of dollars, pays their workers little, has their manager come out there and commit an act of disorderly conduct the way he's acting, raising his hand, lying in public about something. No legitimate purpose other than to try to have police remove somebody that's legally parked from a legally parked parking space. Now, that is disorderly conduct in a public place with intent to cause public annoyance and alarm, engages in conduct, violent or threatening behavior, or dangerous behavior, disorderly conduct, which is what that manager was doing. You've seen him. Now, and police standing there, and then they're threatening me, saying I'm the one being disorderly. See how they rig it? See how the choices they make? See, that's sociology. The choices that they make, who's disorderly and who's not based on facts. I wasn't disorderly. I was parked there in my parking space where I was supposed to be able to park, trying to make money. You know, the way I registered to make money with the city of Knoxville Police Department, went through their rules, went down to the police department, had to pay hundreds of dollars to them, the Knoxville Police Department, under a chief from Louisiana. Yeah, and that is the chief from Louisiana, because the mayor wants somebody that's under her total, complete control, that she can tell them to do anything. And if she had a police chief that was born and raised in Knoxville, they might have a few friends that would say, no, Mayor, you can't do that. But the police chief now from Louisiana depends completely on the mayor of Knoxville winning the election, because if another mayor gets in, he can fire the chief, because he has no support here other than the mayor's the one that hired him underhandedly without releasing public documents to everyone. So that's how dirty the system is. So if you agree with the system, you think they do everything right, you think they're honest, kind people, then you probably shouldn't listen to me, because I'm going to tell you the truth that TikTok won't even let me get on now because I say go vote. That's how dirty the government is. You get somebody on say go vote and tells you that the people in power, you shouldn't vote for them. I'm not advocating any violence. I'm not advocating any civil disobedience. They're advocating, the police were there advocating for civil disobedience, advocating for me to move a taxi that I was allowed to park in. The police were advocating civil disobedience from somebody telling me to move, because that's a civil thing. I own that taxi space because I paid for it, but the city is telling them, the city is backing him up in his civil disobedience against me. Wow, how crazy is that? And that's what I'm telling you. The police ain't out for your rights or out for the public good. You've seen an example right there. There's many more. I just happened to catch that on tape. What do they do behind our backs? And so we're going to talk today. Thank you all for joining me. Charles Van Morgan in the morning. I'm going to bring you the truth, the real truth. If I get kicked off TikTok, remember the name, Charles Van Morgan, because I'll just pop up on another social media, or you'll be able to find me somewhere. Listen to what I'm saying. These people in government power are dangerous to you. They're dangerous to your safety, health, protection, and well-being. They're dangerous to your constitutional rights. We shouldn't have to take them to federal court to enforce our constitutional rights. They should train them our constitutional rights in their academies, that we have constitutional rights. They shouldn't violate them. They shouldn't have been out there backing up some thug that's trying to back up a corporation. So we're going to talk about that this morning. We're going to talk about the ongoing saga, what they have done now, and violated an agreement that they had with me. You seen live right there. Listen to a corporate manager. Corporations over. I'm not going to call myself a pop, but it's mom and pop business. And look here at the moon. We're going to show you something beautiful, and the moon. So yeah. Okay, we got a bunch of people in here. Thank you all so very much. There's a picture of the moon this morning. So yeah, okay, thank you all. Man, we got almost 200 people in here. So that's the ongoing saga with the police department. Now, I'm not running down police officers. You know, those police officers are doing what they're told by the mayor. She thinks, well, you lost an election bad because we rigged the news media against you and rigged it in our favor. So you don't mean nothing because you only got this many votes. But guess what? Guess what, Mayor? I may be popular statewide, United States wide, and worldwide because I stand for people and people's right to vote you out of office. Let me just tell you something about the mayor now here in Knoxville. They're closing down roads. They want you to walk. They want bicycles everywhere because they don't want you in the city of Knoxville. Wherever you're at, what city, look around what's going on, the price of things in cities. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's not conspiracy to go in a grocery store and find out how much things cost in inner cities, to look at the roads being closed down, to look at what the government's doing to you. They're not treating you right. They're closing down roads, making stuff high in cities. The cost of housing is astronomical in cities. And they want to put people in government housing where they have complete control over you. They don't want you in cities. They don't want you in Knoxville. They don't want you here. They're not going to have roads for you, only roads for them. They're going to have, if you're here, you're going to do what they say. You're going to ride on bicycles, or you're going to walk. They don't want you in the city of Knoxville. Knoxvillians been here all your life. They don't want you. They've got new people that moved in here that haven't been here a little over 10 years, that they've got their proxy voting for them, and they're going to do exactly what the mayor says. They're friends with the mayor. They helped them win the election, and they're going to move you. They're going to move you out of Knoxville where only the rich people can live here. That's what the mayor's doing. Now, the mayor campaigned for a political party on Market Square using police resources. Had a big rally at Market Square. You let me try to have a big rally. You can't park here. You can't be here. They'll make up a rule. For a political party on Market Square that she's a member of. And it's nothing against the party. It's against the leadership of the party. So she had police protection. It cost a lot of money. It cost me a lot of money for her to help a party that I don't particularly support, but that she does. So taxpayers had to pay for her rally at a party, a political rally with police protection by the mayor against another political party. So wow, yeah, how does that work out for you? They're political in office, using your tax dollars to support their political choices, to support their proxy, to keep their people in power. That's what the mayor's doing. And trying to run you out of office, trying to raise taxes right now, and then they're going to raise property taxes where you can't live here. The average person's not going to be able to live in Knoxville under this dictatorship. And you've seen how the police were trying to get me to move out of a legally parked space, and now they've changed the sign because I could legally park there. They knew I'd win in a lawsuit against them for making me move out of a space that I have every right to be in, that there's no time limit. I was an active taxi driver. That's why I came. I was answering the calls. So out here trying to make a living now, trying to build up my YouTube channel to get public. There's a supporter. There's my I love you hand signal the best I can. To try to build up my YouTube channel, advertising, and a public audience is always good. Here's my sign live now. So we got over 200 people live now. And Governor 2026, maybe. There's my icon if you want to contribute to media that's not afraid to tell the truth. And also my YouTube channel that you're on right now, that live media that's not afraid to tell the truth. And I'm not out here for money. I'm out here for the truth. I've been doing this for about a better part of 5 years for free. It's not about money. Money helps, and I've even got a contribution from police here in the city. I'm not going to say who, because then they'll fire them for exercising off duty their political rights. So, and don't hurt police. I love police. They're just doing what they're told, and they would like for the mayor to get gone. They would like for, a lot of police are very good people. God bless them. They're the peacemakers. Keep your hands off police. You have a right to sue them when they do wrong. But police are good. They're just in charge of the wrong people here in the city of Knoxville. So we're going to talk about freedom of speech. A case here at the University of Tennessee in Knoxville, freedom of speech case, where some people sued the police for violating their constitutional rights, much like what the city is doing to me. But I'm going to be the bigger person and overlook, because I don't file suits just for any reason, even violations. You got to overlook some things and let some things go. And I don't want to affect those police officers. They were just doing what they're told to do, keeping their job, making a living. So it's not their fault. They called the supervisor down, and the supervisor agreed with me. He said, we can't make you leave because it's parking for taxi. And so he agreed with that. But he said, off the record, that if I didn't leave, that he would go to the taxi inspector and have him change the sign where it wasn't taxi parking only. And I was going to leave anyway because of bus. And I understand that bus being able to park there to drop off students. I wasn't against that. There was no bus there. And had there been a bus show up and asked, I would have moved. I've moved before when the people at Hilton asked me to move. And respectfully, I pulled on their property to pick up customers. And they didn't like the way that I was pulled in, and they asked me to leave. And even called the police on me while I was there picking up a customer. While the police were there, I handed them my ID, and the customer came out, and I got out and left. That's how rogue these people in these corporations are. They're rogue, dirty, nasty people, and they pay their employees nothing. And they had a corporate manager, as you've seen live on video, come out telling me I didn't have a right to park in a space that I had a right to, trying to argue that a sign didn't mean what it said, trying to take something out of context that doesn't even make any sense. The police lieutenant agreed with me, and then I agreed I would leave. I was going to anyway, but he said, threatening me if I didn't, which is not right. If you don't leave, even though you don't have to, we'll just change the rules so that you have to, because we're going to win, because we got an ego. We're the Knoxville police, and if you don't like it, I'm just saying, they kill people all over the place around here. So, you better do what the hell they tell you to. Forget the damn Constitution. They'll change the rules. That's the truth. That's just the damn truth. Am I in fear for my life? A little bit. But, you only live once. And I'm standing up to these people peacefully. I'm saying go vote. And they're saying, we'll do you dirty if you don't do what we want to do. And I still say go vote. Vote the mayor out of office here in Knoxville. She can't be voted out. She's term limited. Don't vote for whoever she endorses. So yeah, but the sign now, even though I left, even though he said that he wouldn't do that, indicated that he wouldn't talk to the taxi inspector if I left, the sign down there now says that it's temporary parking, a drop-off. They took the taxi parking only. Today, about 2 days later, time frame, about 2 days later, they changed the sign. where I can't park there now, except for 15 minutes. So they changed the rules. Even though when I got my taxi permit, paid the money, got my permit, it was the understanding that there's 2 taxi spaces. So they've taken one away. Are they going to give me back any more money? No. But they've allowed Uber and Lyft to park there now. Now Uber and Lyft can park there. Before that man at the Hilton, crazy disorderly conduct person at the Hilton, was saying that Uber and Lyft could park there that temporarily. No, they couldn't. It was taxi parking. They couldn't park there at all. It wasn't a drop-off zone at all. He didn't understand that taxis have different rules than Uber and Lyft. And I'm going to explain to you here in just a minute what those rules are and why taxis are safer than Uber and Lyft. We have a lot more hoops to go through. That's why we had a parking space specifically designed for taxis that they've now eliminated and made Knoxville more dangerous. The Knoxville Police Department has made Knoxville more dangerous for you. The Department of Safety, that's what they're supposed to be. It used to be a public safety building. Now they've moved to a hospital, closed down a hospital and moved to a hospital because they don't want you to get medical care. They want to put you in jail, where you die in jail for lack of medical treatment, because they put you in restraint chairs and all kinds of stuff that's happening all over the state. Another person died incarcerated the other day. So yeah, I mean, it's going on all over the place. These wicked people in government power. The only power we have is vote them out of office. That's what I'm trying to tell you, vote. They don't want me saying that because they know there's more of us than there is them. You know, the governor's race, there is 75% more of us than the little peddly 25% that voted those creeps, transvestites in the governor's office that runs the Tennessee Department of Public Danger, that promoted somebody that's still in valor. There's a whole show about that. A military guy is going around pointing out people that say they served in the military that didn't, and he's got thousands and thousands of views. Why don't you do a story on Stacey Heatherly, the drunken monkey, deranged, nasty uniform that is stealing valor with a THP emblem that works for the Tennessee Department of Safety. It's the Tennessee Department of Public Danger. You know, because maybe he's a military guy. Why don't you do a story on that? Stacey Heatherly says she's retired from the 11th 75th National Guard, served 20 years and never served one day. Not even just, that's a whopping lie. I mean, that's a whopper, isn't it? That's not just a little lie, like I served for a year, 2 years. No, she claims she retired from there. And she never even served one day. I mean, wow, that's pretty good. Big. If you're gonna lie, I guess you might as well go all the way. And that's obvious. She didn't serve in the military. And I reported that to the governor, THPP, their internal affairs that is designed to protect them and endanger you. Let me tell you something about their internal affairs unit at THPP. People think you report stuff to THPP, their internal affairs unit, and they will get rid of bad officers. If you have video or something of an officer doing something bad, report them. And that internal affairs, that's the government. You trust the government, right? We'll get rid of them, and you won't be in danger from their officer. There's bad officers in bad apples in every group, right? That's what you think, right? Well, let me tell you what the internal affairs at THPP does. And this is for you, majors under THP. A lot of them are drunkards. But here's what they do. Here's the way it works. And this is not coming from something I make up off the top of my head. I have a Master of Arts in Sociology. I know how things work, how they really work. They don't work for you, I guarantee you. They work for the people in power. Now, if you have a bad THPP officer and they do something maybe violent to slam your head on the car or something, or do something wrong. Maybe they say you were speeding when you weren't even there. They write you a bad ticket, write tickets to your dead grandfather, which they've done before. So, or they come to work drunk. They do all the time. And arrest you while you're sober. That's going on right now, I'm telling you. This is not imaginary. Read the news, read between the lines. So you complain about them. You got videotape and everything. You present it to them. Like I have evidence of a flyer where Stacey Heatherly spoke before a women's conference advertising she had graduated. She was retired from the 1175th Army National Guard. Spoke at a women's conference and had the THPP emblem and dragging them into her dishonesty and crime. It's a Stolen Valor Act. Got public benefits because of it. Probably got promoted because of it. But you complain about it. You think, well, internal affairs, they'll get rid of her. Or at least sanction her. You know, tell her not to do that and disown what she said. But here's what their internal affairs does. Their internal affairs is set up to get rid of good officers sometimes that stand up against corruption while they're inside the agency. So they get complaints all the time. Hundreds of them. Hundreds and hundreds of complaints against officers. That's part of the program. I mean, they're not out handing out flowers. They're enforcing the law. That makes people mad. That makes people mad as hell when they get a ticket for doing a 70 and a 40, and an officer slows them down, or doing 40 and a 25 with their cell phone in their hand in a school zone. That makes people mad. So they think, well, I'll just get the officer fired. He won't be there for court. I'll make a complaint. So they get complaints like that all the damn time. And what they do when we get across the road here, so I won't get killed. And they dismiss those complaints. They might even get a good complaint from you about somebody like Stacey Heatherly stealing valor, stealing comp time. But they dismiss ones where it's an officer that backs them up, overlooks their corruption, stuff going on behind the closed doors where they're making deals for the people in power. They overlook those complaints. If you complain, a good complaint on an officer, I'm going to tell you how this works with their THPP Internal Affairs, Department of Public Danger, Tennessee Highway Patrol, under the transvestite governor. Now, if you complain against an officer and you have a legitimate complaint, but he's one of their good old boys, he's somebody's boy, and he covers up the public corruption, you complain against him, it will be unfounded every single time. Doesn't matter if you have documentation. If you get documentation from people in the highway patrol that are doing it surreptitiously because they don't want to get fired, they're trying to uncover the corruption in people in power in the government, specifically in the dirty THP, the lying, crooked, criminal THP. They commit criminal acts against you. They don't even lie in court. But the courts, the judges are set up to protect them too. I'm talking about sociology, how this stuff is set up against you, and the only way to do anything about it is to vote these dirtbags out of office, vote these criminals out of office. So you complain, and you complained. Look at this. The sign says private property, no trespassing. But it's on a city street. It's before a city street where that sign is. They can't tell you not to trespass on a public sidewalk. What kind of idiots? You need to move your sign back. That's not a public sidewalk. You can stand there. You can stand on a public sidewalk. It's a public forum, and say the Tennessee government is dirty as hell and they can't do nothing to you. You're supposed to not be able to. Now they will. Fraud elections. Live now, they will. But see that sign right there? Yeah. They need to move it back on their property. That's city property. You can say anything you want as long as it's not violent or threatening behavior, with a few restrictions, time, place, and manner on a public forum, which is a public sidewalk. Now, they don't like me doing this, but guess what? For your safety, your protection, health, and well-being, I'm doing it anyway. So the way the THPP works, Internal Affairs, is set up, they get complaints, hundreds of them, hundreds and hundreds. But when they want to get rid of somebody, say like they're trying to point out corruption in the government, doesn't matter if they're arresting more people for drunk driving than anybody in the state, they want to get rid of them. So they get complaints all the time. Unfounded, unfounded, unfounded. Every damn one of them. It's not founded, not founded. And people think, well, THP is getting rid of officers that do bad, because look at them, they're firing these officers. Look at the people they're firing sometimes. Sometimes they have no choice because they do such egregious stuff. And a lot of times they cover up bad officers' conduct because they're a good old boy. And sometimes, this happens quite frequently, they want to get rid of somebody. And they don't have a reason. So that's when their internal affairs kicks in. And a lot of police departments do this. The Knoxville City Police Department might do this. You know, there's officers I know that have gotten disciplined for reporting bad conduct. One of them I went to law school with. So he was pretty much forced out the door to resign. So here's what they do whenever they have a officer they want to get rid of. It's not going to put up with their corruption, that wants to protect the public, wants to honor the United States Constitution. Well, then what they do is they activate their internal affairs division. It's supposed to be set up to make sure there's professional accountability, that they obey the rules. But it's set up to get rid of officers they want to get rid of. So what they do then is they start taking any damn complaint that comes in against that officer and open up an investigation where before it was unfounded, but they want to get rid of them. So they use the public, because officers get complaints all the time for doing their job. But even when they're doing their job, they open up that investigation and they twist the truth. They say, well, this officer did wrong because we're going to spin it this way. Not because they did anything wrong. They didn't do a damn thing wrong. They're out doing their job. They made somebody mad. That's what they do. They save their life. They arrest somebody for drunk driving. And people get mad. You know, don't drink and drive. Go to court, pay your fines, and do your time. But people complain. I've had federal lawsuits filed against me for arresting drunk drivers that I won. But in the case I was in, they wanted to get rid of me because I stood up against Lowell Russell, who's a lawmaker without any kind of legal education, because they don't need a legal education because they're a good old boy. They back up the system. They back up their dirty deals. They do whatever they want them to do. But if you're somebody like me that believes people have rights and care about public safety, when Lowell Russell comes to town and starts doing dirty stuff, you say stuff about it. And all I did was try to get off his shift. I didn't want to work under somebody that crooked, that dirty, that nasty, that stupid. So I tried to get off his shift and did. But then they activate the internal affairs unit against me, set up to get rid of me. Complaints unfounded before, because they were all of a sudden founded. Yeah, and the people think, well, they're getting rid of bad officers. No, they're not. They're getting rid of good officers that are trying to stand up for your rights. A pursuit in a death is quite common. It happens all the time. It happens hundreds and hundreds of times. It happened with a trooper that was on their good old boy side in 2012. They fired me in 2011 because I was standing up to their corruption in the THPP. And there was a pursuit I had in 2009 that was after the pursuit was over. But I initiated a pursuit, and then I canceled it. That ended up in that person killing themselves, which I hate, which changed my whole world, and it's not a good thing. But they cleared me of that. But then Lowell Russell comes to town, and the same thing happens, and then all of a sudden, founded. How does that happen? Because I did anything wrong? No, because I stood up against his corruption. He's a crooked lawmaker. And he doesn't even have any education. So that's how these internal affairs units are set up. So call in, make a good complaint against an officer, see what happens to it, unfounded. Call in, make a complaint that's not even justified against an officer that they want to get rid of. Man, you'll get the best attention you ever got. It ain't for you. It ain't for the truth. It's because that's what the internal affairs mechanism is for, to protect them at your demise. They don't care if it's somebody that is protecting the public. It has nothing to do with protecting the public safety. Little to nothing to do with that. I mean, they don't care if they protect the public. a little bit. They're supposed to protect them. But it's about maintaining their power, their crooked power, and keeping control over you. And anybody that's on the inside of the agency that wants to protect you and your constitutional rights and points out any corruption, then the Internal Affairs goes into action and finds fault in unfounded complaints. They did that to Marty Nix, one of the best troopers in the state, that saved lives. Even got hit, almost killed in a pursuit. He went against the department, reported sexual harassment. He reported sexual harassment against the supervisor in THPP. You can't do that. He tried to do it where it wouldn't get him in trouble. But if you report a supervisor for legitimate sexual harassment of somebody, that somebody reported that to him, if you report that to them, you will be gone, because then a complaint comes in and they find it founded, and then you're gone, even though he provided for public safety. So I'm just telling you how their internal affairs units work. It's not for professional responsibility, professional accountability. It's to keep people on the department in line with what they tell them to. So, base covered, I think so. Let's see how many people I have on here. Hopefully y'all stand with me. Charles Van Morgan in the morning, telling you about the dirty government from an educated perspective. They like to say I'm not very smart. I have a JD, Doctor of Jurisprudence. I have a Master of Arts from their university that an idiot that never graduated from there, that's got a lot of money, bought his name on there, has his name on the University of Tennessee. I don't have my name on a building. I got my name on a degree where I studied. Mr. Bill Has-Been, the dirty former governor of the state of Tennessee that exploits people for their money. So let me see how many people. So yeah, I got a bunch of people. So we are at almost the 50-minute mark. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue this tomorrow, and we'll talk about tomorrow morning about 6:30, 6:45. Charles Van Morgan in the morning. Listen to me. I'm going to talk about government corruption. First-hand knowledge from somebody that's educated, knowledgeable, from a lived experience from these lying, dirty creeps that endanger your life. They cost people their lives. And using my educational perspective, my life lived perspective, I'm going to tell you why you should vote these people out of office. Because they're crooked as hell. They endanger you. They're dangerous to you. You look at the name, and look at the name of these government agencies, and that'll tell you what they're about. Department of Public Safety. It's exactly the opposite. It's the Department of Public Danger, not the Department of Public Safety. They got rid of the #1 public safety officer in the whole state. Arrested more people for drunk driving, even for their own benefit, than any trooper in the state of Tennessee. They can't lie about that. But then I started reporting their government corruption by supervisors, and I wasn't even going after him. I was trying to get off his shift so that he would leave me alone, because he was trying to stop me from protecting the public, and tried to just change shifts. I just put in for a transfer, but they won't even allow that. You got to do exactly what they say, exactly when you tell them to do it. You got to hi Hitler, or they'll lie on you and get rid of you and defame you for the rest of their life. They didn't expect me to be out here YouTube Live, modern technology, broadcasting all over the world saying, hey, the government is dirty, and they won't even let me say it's dirty, so let's exercise our constitutional rights and go vote. They banned me off TikTok. Look at my Facebook page. They won't let me on TikTok because the Communist Party associated with TikTok won't let me broadcast. I didn't say anything violent. Won't let me broadcast. Go vote. There's 75% more of us than there is them. They're afraid that's dangerous, because if people actually do what he's saying, then they will kick us out of office and kick our proxy out of office. And maybe we won't have power. We don't care about public safety. We care about power. And we got our little 25% proxy that voted for us that helps us maintain control. And we got the news media telling us telling you who to vote for, and sure don't vote for Van. He's a horrible human being, although he saved more people than anybody in the state, and would have continued doing that. And the traffic fatality now in the city of Knoxville is 45% higher than when I was on the road. So when you go to a funeral, somebody's hit by a drunk driver, look at the Major Stacey Heatherly and how safe she is, and call it the Department of Public Safety. People in Tennessee ought to be outraged at the violence by these crooked people in state government. So we'll be back on here tomorrow morning, 6:30, talk about some more of the corruption. Tomorrow, we're going to show you the spot where the government told me that I couldn't park. And I'll show you the sign before. You already seen me arguing with them. My legitimate argument, them telling me to move from a space I paid for. And I'll show you the sign now where they've changed it. In spite of what they told me, they changed the rules, violating the agreements that they had with me. They don't keep their agreements. And I'll also talk about freedom of speech. Freedom for me to get out here in a public forum on the sidewalk, a federal court case, and speak. Say I'm on a public sidewalk and speak and say, go vote, and tell you how the government's dirty. They won't let you do that. They don't like that. They might not win. So that's what we'll do tomorrow morning. So let's see how many people we have on here. We'll be closing just shortly. Thank you all so very much for joining me. I'm going to be on here every morning about 6:30, 6:45, try to get about daylight, and we'll talk about government corruption. That's what this is about the truth, spreading the truth. The truth don't need to hide because people are more powerful. We're standing up against them, and we'll win. We'll beat them down. We'll fight the bully. We're punching them in the face. The state court system, the state THPP, the city police department, not the police officers. The administration's dirty as hell. Violates your rights. You've seen a prime example just live that I happened to catch what stuff goes on behind our back. They hide a lot of stuff, and we'll talk about that some more tomorrow. I got some more important stuff to talk about to you, some real life stuff that I lived through, and we'll talk about that. Let's see how many people, and we'll get off here in just a second. Thank you all so much for joining us. Let me talk about people who have helped us first and mention their name, patronize their businesses. So yeah, let's talk about the bed store down here on Chapman Highway, owned by a veteran. I honor veterans, a Vietnam veteran. So yeah, let's see. So go visit the bed store. He let me put one of my campaign signs out. He's not afraid of the dirty government. He knows how they are. They sent him to a bad war, didn't they? That's what I think. But he served his country honorably, a good man. The bed store on Chapman at Moody. The market on the deli market on Market Street at Bridge in the UT area. Man, super nice. Let me put two of my signs down in his different businesses. Told me anything I need. So go patronize this store. Let's help these people that help you, because they're helping me and I'm trying to help you. So go patronize them. Remember, my business, Safe Taxi. I don't exploit people. That's one of the newspaper articles wrote. He runs a business that has one employee, you know, like it's not a very good business. The reason why I only have one employee is because I don't exploit people. The taxi business, most of them are going under right now. And if you have a taxi driver, they're going to be sitting a long time and not making a lot of money. And you could do that, but I'm not doing that to people. I'm not exploiting people for my benefit, like Haslam does. People at convenience stores making minimum wage without any protection, one of the highest killing rates in employment is a convenience store clerk. And Haslam hires them and they get killed by the dozens. He just hires more. He don't care about people's safety. You won't see security guards and protection for those people while he rakes in millions. I'm not going to do that. I don't exploit people. I'm not a rich man because I don't exploit people. So remember my business, Safe Taxi in Knoxville. If you need a ride locally, or if you want to go from Knoxville to a big city somewhere, we'll go wherever you want to. It's pretty expensive driving that far. As long as they let me have my taxi business open. Since I spoke out against them, they might try to shut me down. We'll go to another area, do something else. We'll get by. We're scrappers. We're fighters. We'll fight the dirty government, and we won't shut up. That's what they want me to do. So thank you for joining us. Remember, Safe Taxi locally. Just type in Safe Taxi in Google. And if you want us to advertise for you, I'll be glad to. Just for a small contribution, just contact me. My number's on the thing here, and we'll advertise for you live in the morning. We're out in public here where, let's see. Well, it ain't on the sign, but it is, you can contact hsafetaxi@gmail.com. Right there it is. hsafetaxi@gmail.com. And we will advertise for you for a small donation. Right there's the donation code. Also, I'll drop my other donation code in here in the link if you want to donate. Independent private journalist, and support the channel. Thank you all. God bless y'all. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Talk about freedom of speech. God loves you, and I do too. Until tomorrow, bye.